listen to Prime Minister Modi's statement yesterday, where he denied any incursion in eastern Ladakh. Here's what he said yesterday, and then we'll play out for you the clarification.
साथियों, पूर्वी लद्दाख में जो हुआ उसको लेकर आपने रक्षा मंत्री जी और विदेश मंत्री जी को सुना भी और प्रेजेंटेशन को भी देखा। न वहां कोई हमारी सीमा में घुस आया है, न ही कोई घुसा हुआ है, न ही हमारी कोई पोस्ट किसी दूसरे के कब्जे में है।
So the Prime Minister's statement yesterday was to the all-party meet where he talked about no intrusions, and today, as a result of the questions raised by the opposition, what the Prime Minister's office calls mischievous misinterpretations of what the Prime Minister said, he has pointed a direct finger at them and said there was an attempted intrusion, an attempt by the Chinese army to build a structure on Indian soil. It was the fighting back of that attempt by the Chinese that resulted in the bloodshed of June the 15th. He also has taken pains to say that this was a complete break in tradition from how the army has been allowed to defend territory in the past. Our National Affairs editor Rahul Srivastav is live with me on this very important clarification. But first I want to go across to India Today's Gaurav Sawant, who's with me live from Leh in Ladakh. He's the first journalist in Ladakh after the bloodshed on June the 15th. Extremely significant clarification, Gaurav, where the Prime Minister's office has said, don't mischievously misinterpret. The Prime Minister was specifically briefing the all-party about the Galwan incident of June the 15th, and he says there was an attempted intrusion which was fought back. So anyone misinterpreting this to mean that there are no intrusions or he's making a blanket statement are wrong. He's talking specifically about Galwan.
Shiv, you and I have known the truth, but now it's out in public domain and from no other than the Prime Minister of the country. The Chinese tried to come into our territory. The Chinese tried to erect a structure. And you and I know what that observation post and those tents were all about, that the Chinese wanted near Petrol Point 14. And that would have been detrimental to India's security, especially when it comes to the DBO highway that passes, a little distance away from there. The brave soldiers of the 16th Battalion of the Bihar Regiment and that Medium Arty Regiment, initially the commanding officer tried to stop it. In that melee, a tent was burnt, the structures were destroyed, and that's where there were casualties. So the Chinese moved back, not out of the goodness of their heart, but because our brave soldiers ensured that the Chinese moved back. A lot of these things are kept in the realm of ambiguity, given that there are very complex international relations that are at stake, and there could be a situation that could escalate and flare up elsewhere. So that is why things were kept ambiguous. But now the Prime Minister's office has set the record straight that our braves physically stopped the Chinese from transgressing, and that is why our territory is safe today.
Very, very strong statement, Rahul. I doubt this is going to, put a shutter on the politics, because I'm sure the Congress is loading up on another salvo to hit at the government. But this clarifies many of the interpretations that had exploded yesterday on the back of that statement at the all-party meeting. The Prime Minister, laser focusing what he said and saying that there is nobody on Indian soil in Galwan because of the actions of the Indian army on the night of June the 15th. Attempts made by the Chinese to incur into Indian territory were fought back, and that is the very genesis of the bloodletting that took place on that night. And he's also accused the opposition of not playing politics because it affects morale.
Shiv, in a democracy, it is a right to ask questions. When the Congress Party President, Interim President Sonia Gandhi yesterday at the meeting raised several questions regarding intelligence failure, whether there was a delay in action, and all those, they are legitimate questions. That's the one, right. But then the Congress, after the Prime Minister's statement, moved into a slightly tricky territory. When it started questioning that is the Prime Minister redefining the LAC, and the second, did the Indian Army enter into the Chinese territory? Now, that's a tricky point, because even in case the Indian Army did cross into the LAC, an admission will actually, this questioning, line of questioning, if followed, will mean that it will be endorsing what the Chinese line globally is, that it is the Indian Army which entered the LAC. So that's a very tricky line to follow. Now what the Prime Minister has said is a very critical line that the government on transgression has said. It was clearly stated that the violence on Galwan on 15 June arose because Chinese side was seeking to erect structures just across the LAC. Just across the LAC.
Yes.
And that is where the incident happened. So the government is not saying the location of the incident, but it is talking about what was the level of the Chinese movement, that it was not into Indian territory but beyond it. Now, why this is happening, it has turned into the consensus yesterday in which the Congress was a lone party out, and even Mamata Banerjee, Shiv Sena, Sharad Pawar and others backed the government. There is a political logic shift. The Congress lost the 2019 election because of the national security issue, Balakot and others, to the BJP, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi got a better majority than 2014. The Congress is right now too keen to beat the BJP on the national security issue. It wants to corner the government that it has lost ground as far as to Chinese at the LAC, and it wants to say that it didn't handle the situation well, and that's why the soldiers lost their lives. That again is a problematic issue at this time, because it's a very volatile situation and it's a very fast changing situation. I think the time right now is not to be politically eager, but to be sagacious about what is happening, and perhaps the only solution is to ask questions, but questions which don't threaten strategy and tactics.
Absolutely. I think you hit the nail on the head, Rahul, when you talk about how a slippery, tricky slope has been embarked upon, by the wisdom of Rahul Gandhi, which should have been slightly more tempered. Questions were fine until the all-party meeting took place, but after the interaction, perhaps getting into the tactics, the strategy, asking those tricky questions as far as the line of actual control were concerned, don't really help India. They help China at this point of time. But questions are questions. Rahul and Gaurav, thank you very much.
Hello everyone, this is Rahul Kamal here. Hope you enjoyed this video. For the latest news and analysis, like and subscribe the India Today YouTube channel, and don't forget to press the bell icon to stay updated.